Well, in this brief video, we are going to show you how to use QuickBooks Connector. It is clear that for using QuickBooks Connector, we are going to need to have opened the session in QuickBooks and the session in byMovers to change, to send data from one to the other. What we are going right now is creating a test company in QuickBooks. We are using the 18th version of QuickBooks, and of course this is something you don't need to do because you have your companies already created on QuickBooks. This is the company we have created to do this video and to do this demonstration, and we are going to talk right now about the QuickBooks Connector. You are going to receive from your commercial the full package of installation, in which you are going to see a document called steps, in which you are going to find the 4 simple, easy steps to install the QuickBooks Connector on your domain. Following these 4 steps, you will install in a really easy and fast way our QuickBooks Connector. It's really easy to do. Once we open the QuickBooks Connector, it's gonna ask you some information. The first one is the domain we want to use. That of course is corresponding to your byMovers domain. In this case, we are going to enter Demona, that is a test domain that we have for North America. And it's gonna ask you your username and password. Your username and password is gonna be exactly the same. It's exactly the same that you are using for byMovers. In case that when you are going to use QuickBooks Connector, QuickBooks is not open, you will receive an error message in this screen telling you that, hey, you need to open your QuickBooks session in order to use the QuickBooks Connector, this API. Of course, QuickBooks has to be open with the associated company we want to send information to. In case we have more than one company using QuickBooks, we need to have opened the session with the corresponding one, with the right one. First time you are going to use the connector, you are going to see this pop-up coming. It's simple. It's just giving QuickBooks permissions to use QuickBooks Connector. As any other application, when you are going to link one application with the other, you will need to give permissions enough to do all the work. So this is just to be done the first time you are going QuickBooks Connector, only once. And is basically, as I was telling, giving permission to QuickBooks to get connected through QuickBooks Connector. So we are ready to go. We are going to introduce Demona, the test domain we are going to use for the demonstration, our username and the password. And we are getting access to the main screen of QuickBooks Connector. You can find here a start date and an end date that will be used for the searching of information inside byMovers. You will see also the button for getting data from byMovers and the button for send data to QuickBooks. It's really easy to use. Of course, all invoices, clients, suppliers, payments, collections, and taxes will be adjusted to the date range, that we are using from start date to end date. Okay, so now we are going to see how we can make a search and get information from byMovers. So we are going to establish a date range to get information from byMovers. We are going to establish the wide range because, you know, again, it's a test domain. And these are the invoices belonging to the date range that we established, in this case from the whole 2020. You can see the invoice number, the file to which the invoice is belonging to, the client or supplier, the total taxes, subtotal before taxes, total with taxes, date, issuance date of the invoice, pending payments of the invoice, and the actual status of the invoice. In clients, suppliers, we are going to find the clients and suppliers associated to those invoices with the type, and these check columns exist in QuickBooks and merge with QuickBooks means that as QuickBooks has some restrictions, for instance, you can't repeat a number of a provider of a customer as is normal in QuickBooks. What our connector does is looking for the name of the customer or supplier and see if it's already existing in QuickBooks but not associated to our connector. So the connector gives us the possibility of merge or associate the customers, the new customer from the new invoices got from byMovers to an actual existing customer in QuickBooks. So we can merge the customer with one customer existing in QuickBooks. In this case, if it's a demonstration exportation, of course, we don't have any customer in QuickBooks, so all the checks, as you can see, they are blank. Regarding validation column, here any kind of error or problem with QuickBooks integration will be shown. For instance, for you to have a better idea, a customer address in QuickBooks cannot be longer than 41 characters. So if some of our customers or some of the information that we get from byMovers has some of these kind of issues, will be shown in validation. That's the purpose of this concrete column. In payments, you will find the payment information with the invoice belonging to client, supplier, type of payment, and it is a QuickBooks requirement to associate the bank from the banks created on QuickBooks to every single payment. Validation column has the same purpose on than on customers, showing issues or errors. In taxes, we are going to find the internal code in byMovers of every tax, the name of every tax that we have created in byMovers, the value in percentage, and is a QuickBooks requirement to assign a tax agency. As we do not have one, because it's a brand new company that we just created on QuickBooks, we are going to go to QuickBooks to be concrete on the vendors and create a tax agency. Of course, all this work is supposed to be done already on your QuickBooks company, so you don't need to do it, but just to show you the kind of errors that we can find and how we can solve them. We are going to refresh the information in the connector and reassign really quick the banks that we just did on the other tab. And now, of course, we have the tax agency that we just created on QuickBooks to be assigned to every tax. Okay, with that, we have everything ready to go, everything to be sent, ready to be sent to QuickBooks. So, of course, the selection checks allows us to take out any invoices of information that we don't want to send. And when we are ready, we are going to press Send Data to QuickBooks button. So it's synchronizing customers, taxes, payments, collections, invoices, all the information that we are going to send to QuickBooks. Once the work is done and the integration is done, we receive this message of the pop-up telling us that everything is good and the integration was done. Everything appears in green, as you may see, because all the information has been sent already to the system, to QuickBooks. So if we go to QuickBooks, we will find our suppliers information on there. For instance, Amigo Moving, and remember the tax agency that we just have created. If we go to customer, we will see all customer information with their numbers and information, address, phones, and everything that we may move to QuickBooks. And of course, if we go to invoices, we will find all the invoice information with the amounts and taxes and totals and all the numbering that we may need for our accounting purposes. As you may see, it's a simple way of integrating byMovers with QuickBooks. Remember, we need to have open a session in byMovers. We need to have open a session in the company that we want to integrate with QuickBooks, in the company that we have in QuickBooks to be integrated. We need to use our username and password from byMovers. And of course, if you have any question or any doubt about all this QuickBooks connector, do not hesitate to contact us or your local sales agent, in this case, Jason Strass. Thanks for your time, and I hope it helps.